This video is sponsored by the good folks at
TFE PowerCircle. We get to the check.
in association with
Cookup.
It's not podcast.
Yo, Dennis here, back with another episode of This Is Not a Podcast. Y'all already know what the lick read. Make sure y'all like and subscribe and hit that notification button. It's greatly appreciated. But first,
Hey, you, right there. Y'all see it. Watch this video to the end, boy.
yeah, so we back, episode 89. See, I remember the number now. We on the road to 100 yet again. We back on the road to getting back to the basics, so to speak. So I decided that, I've been wrestling, came up with a lot of different concepts for this episode, and today seems more fitting to do this. It's not a review. This is not a reaction. Well, it is kind of a reaction, but it's more of a reaction / give one of your idols their flowers while they're still here. It's one of those type of deals, you know what I'm saying? Oh, if y'all see the title, y'all read the title, y'all see the thumbnail, so y'all already know what this episode is about. So Scarface did a thing maybe about a week prior to the Tiny Desk that's coming out, number 5 trending on YouTube right now currently. Scarface did his thing, man. He basically left Earth, had an out of body experience, took us to a place that we haven't been to in quite some time. And when I tell you, even the NPR is saying it on record before it dropped, that this is the greatest, the best Tiny Desk episode ever. And I gotta say, I've seen quite a few. I feel like, I got a couple favorites of my own, but this one right here, I gotta agree with them and say it takes the cake. Mr. Scarface, man. Not to say I wasn't expecting that, because I got a chance to catch the farewell tour last year, and when I say that was an experience, this right here, to see it once again in this type of setting, off the charts. Anybody that's cut from the same cloth as me, especially if you come from Chicago and you grew up on Scarface, you already know what's up, man. This right here is something that was much needed right now. This was really a breath of fresh air. We've been talking about it on and off throughout the day. It's all over the internet right now. I'm an 80s baby, so I grew up on Scarface. My pops introduced me to Scarface, as well as all the neighborhood heroes, if you will. Some of y'all might call them dope boys, but we call them heroes. We call them the original role models, the big homies in our neighborhoods. We didn't have too many Michael Jordans running around, even though we had a lot of athletes. But even the athletes of those times, and even before those times, the streetwalkers, the drug dealers, the gangsters of the neighborhood that was probably frowned upon in society, we get a chance, like kids like myself, we got a chance to see a different side of the people that's being ridiculed. For these type of people that's been ridiculed, we got a chance to see that. I don't know, I'm probably going off topic, might even cut this part out, but anyway, let's get back to the subject at hand. So NPR decided to give Scarface a Tiny Desk episode, and when I say, I guess they were blown off the charts before they dropped it, so that's just giving us anticipation that this is the greatest Tiny Desk episode to date, or the greatest Tiny Desk episode ever. I mean, he's getting covers from Complex magazine. I've seen a lot of publications jump on this. I've seen celebrities, I've seen fans, I've seen people that might not even been up on Scarface like that, or at least say they didn't know. You know what I'm saying? This is what you got when you saw this. And when I say gave us chills, that type of music that make the hairs on your arms stand up, that's what Scarface do. You know what I mean? Like, it's only a handful of people that can actually do that, and Scarface is one of them. And I could name a few of them that does that, but this is all about Scarface right now. So let's do the breakdown, shall we? And not only that, he gave us an extra treat. Longtime collaborator, a fellow GOAT himself in his own right, for sure, Mr. Mike Dean. Engineer, producer, musician, the list goes on and on with Mike Dean. So to see Mike Dean in this type of setting, now don't get me wrong, like fellow producer, fellow writer myself, we all know about Mike Dean. We know what the contributions to the game Mike Dean brought to the table. But before I get into that, let me just give a big shout out and a big thank you to the old man, Jay Prince. Shouts out to the Rap-A-Lot family, and just for bringing us such extraordinary talent, for giving us the Ghetto Boys, for discovering Mike Dean. That's right, Lil J discovered Mike Dean. So shouts out to the old man. I just want to say that first and foremost. Now back to what I was about to say. Now Mike Dean put on a clinic on those keys. If you watch that 31-minute and some change episode, it was a treat for me, man. Especially working with the synthesizers. He had it set up right there. He was killing the Moog. And y'all know what the Moog is. For all my fellow producers, y'all know what time it is when it comes to the synthesizers. So it was a double treat for me, and for a lot of people don't know, that just starting to catch on. Scarface is an exceptional producer and musician as well. You've seen him pull the curtain back for those of you that haven't caught that wave with him playing the guitar. I mean, if you caught his podcast, you've seen his interviews, you've seen a lot of different things out there. Well, and you might even seen a video or two of him playing the guitar. So this time you got a chance to see it. You got a taste of it, full display, and he didn't disappoint. It was like an intimate setting. Many people that's off the camera that's watching this stuff, but when you watch it, you know, I like to see things that can automatically just pull you in. Now I'm talking about from the first note. Shouts out to that band. I can't think of the name. I don't even know if it's an actual band, but what I do know is from the first note to the last note. And I'm not capping. All biasness out. The band was phenomenal. Mike Dean is phenomenal. Scarface is phenomenal. So it was a bunch of phenomenal people on one set. There's so much. I like the episode so much that I decided to dedicate episode 89 to Mr. Scarface and Mike Dean. With that being said, let's just walk on through a few things. Now, I'm not here to roll out the credits of Mr. Scarface. I'm not here to talk about all of that because that's a whole nother episode. A lot of people don't understand the type of catalog this guy has, and a lot of people that don't know better do not make enough mention about Scarface being the GOAT, being top 5, or let alone he can make a strong argument as to being number 1. He don't like that type of stuff, but I understand, you know, I mean, I know it's the ultimate form of flattery if you Brad Jordan, but you gotta understand, Brad Jordan, Scarface is a rapper's rapper, a vivid storyteller. I love storytellers. This is the type of guy that can just bring you to a place and paint a picture for you so vivid that you feel like you right there. And then he did that from even the Ghetto Boys days. Like the first time I knew he was special. Quick story, when I first heard, and there's a lot of you shorties out there don't know what this is, but a lot of my old heads know what I'm talking about. Mind of a Lunatic. You know, believe it or not, everybody knows Mind Playing Tricks on Me, but before Mind Playing Tricks on Me, Mind of a Lunatic was one of the songs that I originally memorized. Forgive me, God, I was a kid, but I memorized a lot of Ghetto Boys tunes when I should have. But that was the life then, you know what I mean? This is the 80s, this is early 90s. My pops was young, you know what I mean? My pops is like 19 years older than me, so it was kind of like back then, it was like having a big brother that was authorized to kick my ass when I got out of pocket. Not for nothing, I'm not here to glorify the street life. I'm not here to glorify certain things, but let's just say, without saying too much, you've seen the depictions of like these movies like Paid in Full and New Jack City and what Chicago was, and then the Chicagoland areas in the 90s and early 80s was kind of similar to that. Like the 80s, or especially late 80s, like 88, 89, going into the 90s was a time for a lot of people that grew up in that era. I just happened to be a kid around that time, and we like to say this saying, 80s baby, 90s raised me. We really grew up in the 90s. We was born in the 80s, going into the 90s. We talking Ghetto Boys, We Can't Be Stopped album, which y'all know Mind Playing Tricks on Me is on there, and we can literally ring off the song list from there, but we got Mr. Scarface back, and that's when, you know, Mind Playing Tricks on Me, a lot of people like to say, you know, that was when we recognized Scarface as being Scarface. I say no. I knew Scarface was Scarface way before that. When he was DJ Action, we knew he was special. A lot of people know that, like, this is an extraordinary guy, and he just peeling off the layers. I think it's more to him than that. But the one thing I find fascinating about Mr. Scarface, as well as, and you know, we've been on this wave, you know, if you go back a few episodes, you know, I gotta plug them. I've talked a lot about Nas for the past year or two, just saying that he is really, you know, diversifying his portfolio and taking his artistry to a whole nother level, being able to keep up with the youngsters and still be able to contribute to the game still and push the envelope forward. And not only that, but encouraging the fellow veterans of the game that still got a sharp pen. Now, I ain't gonna say all of them, but the ones that do keep their pen sharp, Nas pretty much let everybody know, put everybody on notice that even if he can do it, and you know he's been ridiculed for a lot of the things that he do, even though he's also one of the GOATs of our time and of our culture. Well, he's one of the GOATs of our culture, I should say. Well, we know Nas is one of the GOATs of our culture, but you know, he didn't pick the best production. You know what I'm saying? Scarface, on the other hand, was like considered one of the GOATs, one of the greatest pens ever and your rapper's favorite rapper at the same time. But at the same time, he was almost like an underground legend at the same time, in a sense. Like, although you know who Scarface is, and in some rooms he really didn't get the recognition that he deserves. But right now I think we're starting to see, especially after this Tiny Desk episode, we finally, I'm more excited. I'm gonna just say we're finally getting a chance to see him on not only another platform. We saw him at the Grammys. We saw him, I mean, there's nothing he really haven't done yet. He's got, you know, it's nothing I could really tell you about Scarface, but I'm just simply on here just to give that man his flowers, you know what I mean? And to tell him thank you, you know what I mean? Like, it's very rare. I never got a chance. Like, I've met a lot of my idols before. I met a few forefathers along the way, I should say. Like, I never met Scarface, but Scarface is when it comes to Chicago, when it comes to rap a lot, we wear it on our chest when it comes to Scarface, you know what I mean? When it comes to the Ghetto Boys, yeah, that's what we grew up on, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of Southern artists, especially with them first, then you got the 8 Ball and MJGs and so forth and so forth, the UGKs and blah blah blah. But Scarface is the undisputed king of the South, hands down. I know y'all say it's T.I., and I get that. It's for some of y'all, you know, but to us, Scarface is the undisputed king of the South. I know he don't like them titles and all that, but hey, that's what we fans is for. We speak for him when it comes to that, because I know it's not the politically correct thing to do, to say I'm this and I'm that, so we're gonna say it for you. So I just want to just take this time to give Scarface his flowers, because that right there was inspiring. That right there was phenomenal. I'm gonna leave the link in the description. I'm gonna make sure I do that. You know, and shouts out to NPR for just putting that thing together, for just having a platform for a lot of those artists from the past, present, and future to come up there and share their gifts. I've seen a couple other good ones too out there that I want to give a shout out in another episode. Right now we want to just stay on course right now. So I think I might have talked a little bit too long. Maybe not. I'm gonna look back at the footage and just see how we gonna piece this thing together. So with that being said, right about now, Scarface could probably drop an album right now, or even start another tour. Say psych. I mean, Jay-Z do it all the time. Bluff a retirement and then come back out. The end of the year has been something. I'm excited to see what 2024 brings. What other surprises is to arrive. Mr. Scarface, man. Brad Jordan, you did it again, man. Brad, you did it again, man. The voice, he still got it. Like, when I think about Scarface and like all the stories I've heard from other underground legends, especially like from our city, first of all, rest in peace to my brother Black AG. Black AG, I wish he was here right now to tell an in-depth story about, you know, he actually has ties with Scarface. We're gonna talk about that in another up and coming project. But right now I don't want to, you know, that's why I said this whole thing was a little different. This was a special thing, and I know for a fact I'm gonna watch this a few more times over. I'm gonna watch it for probably years to come, because this is one of those moments. And I'm telling you that for every up and coming artist, not just a rapper, artist, any up and coming artist that wants to learn the craft, wants to hone their skills, especially if you're a rapper, that episode right there, Scarface, Tiny Desk, I'm finna put y'all on if y'all haven't watched it yet. Don't just ride no wave, you know, because nowadays we live in a magical world of social media where attention spans is hit a day, what have you done for me lately? We live in that era, and we don't hold on to things that we should be preserving, and this is one of them. This is a masterclass right here, ladies and gentlemen. For all my shorties out there, this is a masterclass. Whether this your jam or not, I want you to understand this. Scarface, you talking about control. This is room control. This is voice control. This is breathing. There's a lot of things you can get from this masterclass right here. 31 minutes and some change. Mike Dean. Look at Mike Dean. How these musicians, the singers, drummers, everybody that's involved, the whole entire band. You looking at a rapper that's a band leader. The man whipped out a guitar, get the strumming a guitar, and doing a live version of some of his biggest records. You understand? Like, just think about that for a minute, youngsters. To build your catalog, to let's normalize making timeless music instead of the what have you done for me lately thing. I might go live maybe tomorrow or something, depending on how I feel, if I don't forget. But yeah, I encourage y'all, watch Watch Scarface Tiny Desk concert performance. I guarantee you will be inspired. It's gonna make you do something. You know what I mean? Whether you wanna get back in that booth. You know, for some of us, we need a good swift kick in the ass. And I'm talking to myself too as well, because you know, some of y'all know, if you know, you know. I do a lot with the music. My whole thing is music. You know, before I ever picked up a camera, it all started with music. And this right here re-energized me to make me either want to attempt, or at least, you know, let's go ahead, let's get back to the music. Let's be creative. Not just music, but just anything in general. Motivate me to go ahead, show my artistry, build my catalog up. That's why I'm saying, like, this right here is a masterclass right here. Especially for us that's seasoned. You know what I mean? I'm not as old as them, but I'm just saying that for those of us that's been around the ring a few times, and you know, we've been doing this thing and we got a little bit of expertise, if you will, the pen is still sharp. And if you are an extraordinary person, or if you are an extraordinary artist, this is for you. So I'm gonna leave it here. And once again, Brad, I don't know if you're gonna see this, and if you do by chance, I just want to say thank you. Thank you on behalf of me, on behalf of everybody that loves Scarface, that loves the music, that loves everything, that follow the legacy, that give it up when they should, that pay homage. This is me paying my homage. This is me giving it up. I can talk about Scarface all day long. There's certain artists I could just talk about all day long, and he is one of them. So I just want to give him his flowers, even if you don't see him. And if you know him and you see this, pass it to him so he can see it. But make sure y'all like and subscribe and hit that notification button. And as always, but before I do that, I'm tripping. Go to www.powercircle.life. Get yourself some you-know-what. Hair-Busters Knockout All-Purpose Seasoning. Hair-Busters Knockout All-Purpose Seasoning. $10 free shipping and handling. Don't just buy one, buy 10. It'll be sure to bless you, bringing the fun and the simplicity back to cooking. For all you non-cookers out there, for all you part-time cookers out there, for all you real cookers out there, all you chefs, whatever, caterers, this is a walking cheat code. So I appreciate everybody that purchased anything. I appreciate, you know, I can't thank you enough. Shouts out to everybody that's giving feedback on the trailer. Like I said, I told you I got some stuff coming, man. So just stay with me, buckle up. We are in the process of doing a lot of different things. 2024 is gonna be a challenge, but yet promising. That's it. I'm gonna leave it there. So as always, keep God first. Stay sucker free. By all means, get to the money. Peace and love. Stay healthy. I'm out this joint.